in 2010, surprisingly found only a few individual features that are consistently strong in predicting transfer. However, the reality is there's no magic bullets for leveraging transfer. My work broke down the factors involved in learning transfer. If I remember, the individual capability and motivation, the support and the design of the intervention, and the organizational factor. And what I did was concentrate on the individual characteristics. What's the individual's perception through their experience, their ability to relate their intentions, thoughts, beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors into learning transfer. And the problem is we've got diversity. It's not a microscope we're looking at, it's a kaleidoscope. Now, what I identified were 9 key characteristics that people use when they're transferring their learning. If you put a group together, those characteristics may show patterns, but the patterns will be built on diversity. Now, what we've done is produced an app that enables the individual to apply their learning, because I said right in the very beginning, there's more and more responsibility on the individual to manage their learning application. So we devised an app that enables an individual to look at the process that they're using. These are the 9 characteristics. The motivation to learn and transfer. I went into my prof doc with the desire to know everything there was to know about learning transfer. I was repeatedly told that all I had to do was pass an exam. So whilst my peers were going through the process with very little hassle, I was having these emotional highs where I couldn't understand everything there was to learn. The second one, motivation to learn involves attitudes, beliefs, values, and intentions. It's not just the motivation to learn. I can master my learning, or I can choose my peers as a template to judge my performance. Most of the research says personal mastery is the most important one and the most effective one. But it's the intention to transfer that learning that is key. And it's the ability in learner readiness that I have, that I'm prepared, that I know everything there is to know about the program, what's its intentions, what are the expectations, but I also know my expectations. What is it that I will change my behavior? What are the consequences of that change in behavior? Self-efficacy, the confidence I go to learn. If I believe if I have a can-do attitude, I'm more likely to learn. The ability to reflect, review, and project, to look back on the past and my previous experience, to review the current situation and project into the future. The ability to generalize from what I'm learning into other contexts. And that's one of the failings of open learning. They give you examples in open learning, but the ability to generalize from that example into my own experience is quite difficult for somebody on an open learning program. Learning strategies, that's a really good one. If you come to London and go into a taxi, any one of the black taxis in London can take you to 4,500 different destinations without a sat-nav. And what they do is they have ways of memorizing the maps that they have in their heads right in the beginning. It's called passing the knowledge. Now, that is neuroplasticity. It's linked to neuroscience. It's built on neurons in the brain, and will help you when you're in compliance to proceduralize your learning, to memorize your learning. There are also strategies to understand your learning, and there are strategies you can do as a behavioral change. Goal setting, we've all had smart-ass goal setting objectives, but achievement orientation. Do I have a drive to succeed? Conscientiousness, do I have preciseness, a methodology, a systematic and a method, I can't even say it, and a systematic way of applying my learning? And can I bounce back resiliently from adversity? And finally, do I have the assessment and evaluation that enable me to self-regulate my learning? Now, it's not only sequential, but there are loops and spirals. So if I'm a very conscientious person, there are loops and spirals that I go through. I can be part of an extreme, but I also can let go of that conscientious in times when it's appropriate. So it's not just that, and it is often a unique experience based on the context in which the learning happens. So what we've built in our learning is not just an assessment of the individual, but the context in which your learning is being applied.